Now it started. We'll see if it stops any second now. We'll know. But BKN episode 144 still recording. I think we're good. I think
we're good. All right.
Yeah. So we were just talking about the Last Kingdom. I want to talk about politics, which everyone will love. Sorry about the salt. Trump, weight loss, and another thing I forgot. So
okay,
this will be good.
Right, we're going to talk about, because that's honestly, I want to talk about that just
we'll
as much
start
as
with it then, dude. So Last Kingdom, Kyle was right about everything he said. One, criminally underrated, as Taylor mentioned in the Skype. Very, very good show. Another thing, shit happens every show. Every show is a season of Game of Thrones. You know, like Kyle mentioned on PKA, but it still blew my mind. Like, this is the first episode, so I'm not spoiling very much. But a kid is taken from his home and he grows into a man. One show. One show that all happens. Good.
Your hero's Genesis story is episode 1. You get his entire childhood to manhood and everything that is going to motivate him in the future and make him the man he is and is going to push him forward. That's episode 1. And after episode 1, you're like, all right, the fight is on. And it's great.
Sometimes.
How far are you into it so far?
I'm done.
We're all done.
Yeah, I'm out of Last Kingdom.
Okay, I'm done too.
Yeah, so embarrassingly. Did you also start Thursday?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my God! How did we finish 2 seasons? And they're hour long, and they're like a real hour long, not the 42-minute hour long, I think. And man, I watched it all. It was addicting. Sometimes too much happens, and I've never said that about a show ever. I actually am not 100% sure how many wives he's had in 2 years.
Oh my God, so many! I'm having a lot of trouble keeping track of it because you're already devoting so much of your memory to, just like Game of Thrones, keeping track of which bearded white guy is which bearded white guy. That these women just all blend together when they shouldn't as much. But it's like, goddamn, like you couldn't have picked some more disparate hairstyles. Like there's only one woman in any of these camps at any given time. Like change up the hair, but
every time,
to Woody's point of everything like going too fast, that you're totally right in that. And I didn't fully believe Kyle when he said how quickly this show is going to go. But there were times where it's so rare. In Game of Thrones, I'll sit there and be like, how much more of this feast is there going to be? Are we going to get no Tyrion? Is there going to be no Tyrion? Oh, I guess no Tyrion again. Okay. With this, there would be a feast with the 2 Viking brothers or whatever the hell it is. And
7 seconds.
It would just be like, all right, well, on the morrow we will speak. And then it's like, oh, that was it. Well, no more of the feast. I don't get to see anything else that happened. No more little banter between the folks. It was almost too quick at times. Where I'd be like in one scene they'd be like, well, we must send word to all corners of the empire to rise up and to get them and to forge new swords and shields. And next scene, we're all here. We're all ready to go.
It totally works like that. And they'll be like even the prepping for battle, right? Just kind of marching to a place and organizing and lining your men up. That's 2 or 3 shows in Game of Thrones. That, I swear to God, is 2 or 3 minutes in this show.
It takes so long in Game of Thrones that when the army does arrive, to their credit, you're surprised. You're like, oh yeah, I forgot. There's been an army marching for 4 years, and it just got here. Who leads that army again? But in this case, you're equally surprised, but it's because it's so soon.
Yeah.
Like that scene where Uhtred fights Ubba in the camp, and all of a sudden there's an army there. You're like, whoa, that's right. There's an army on the way.
There's another scene where I forget his name, but the biggest king, Edmund or Edward or something like that, he's waiting for the other army to show up. And he's standing on top of a hill looking towards the woods. And I'm thinking to myself, that's not how you wait for an army. This could take a couple of seasons. But oh no, hey, there they are. He's like, oh no, I see. He's like, I see their shadows. Yep, see, told you. And it's like, oh my God, really?
He had to wait for such a short period of time. He didn't even need popcorn and a beverage. A movie, you need more refreshment to wait on. He was there for 15, 20 minutes and the army showed up. 3 armies simultaneously. That's his timing.
They take all the non-action and
they would have surprised him.
Here's how I edit videos lately, and I've been getting compliments. So I go through, usually I have 2 hours of footage, and I shrink it down to 20 minutes. And then after I'm done, I do it again. I'm like, you know what? That was boring shit right there. Cut, 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 cut. And the more I cut, the better it gets. whoever is editing this series is doing that 6 or 7 times because there's nothing but
I
story
just imagine
progression.
them going to Netflix, telling them like the whole story of Uhtred, of Bebbanburg, and how it begins and how it ends, and they're like, oh wow, that's one hell of an epic. What is this, like 8, 9 episodes? Or 8, 9 seasons? No, about 3 episodes. We can wrap it all up. Like, no, you've got to expand. 3 episodes? Give me 3 seasons at least, because it really does
hope
go
they
rapidly.
get renewed.
Oh, for sure, they definitely are. I think that it was highly rated.
Renewed, right?
Yeah, it was really highly rated. I think it's one of their higher budget shows. I like Swords and Shields. You mentioned that you saw a guy's blue jeans like under his chainmail.
Yeah.
Oh, did you?
Was it a close up? Because I think I might have caught something.
No, it was when they have like the sitting down at the fireplace camera shot, and you just see like the random men in the back from like nipples down with their cloaks. I was just like we were just on Skype like chatting about like, man, this is so cool and such high budget, and then I just sent a message like, I just saw a guy wearing jeans at the King's Council because he was just, and I was like, is that jeans? They didn't have denim in the year 780.
Yeah,
whatever it is.
It's
like,
funny.
They even have connected sleeves. I like how they're like the clothing works. I pay really a lot of attention.
Sleeves.
Yeah, I pay a lot of attention to their clothing because if it looks good, I can really immerse myself. Like I liked his sword work. I thought that it didn't look like the nicest sword ever. It looked like, yeah, that old guy over there just hammered this out for him.
It's a tool with a sparkly on the end. What is that? Like he seems to have. It's the Jurassic Park mosquito, as far as I can tell.
It is. It's a chunk of amber with some mosquitoes preserved in it, and his father gave it.
Dino DNA.
That's a real thing. You know, that's not like make believe just for Jurassic Park. That happens. There's not Dino DNA in there.
There's no Dino DNA.
Yeah, I was like, does Kyle think this happens?
No, it happens. But no, things do get preserved in amber, and amber's a real thing. And he's got a chunk of amber in the hilt of his sword.
I was in Atlanta for this bike ride across Georgia. It was a thing I do with my dad. And Jurassic Park was like in the theaters. I don't know if it was 1 or 2. And the Atlanta, so I'm from Jersey at this point, and I'm surrounded by people, especially, 20, 30 years ago, who think that everyone from the South has a room temperature IQ. So this is like my first Southern experience. I'm down there, and someone's like, hey, do dinosaurs really eat people? And the DJ on the radio is like, well, dinosaurs do what dinosaurs do. They eat people. That's what dinosaurs do. Dinosaurs do what dinosaurs do. He just kept saying that. And I'm like, oh, my God. I thought he just represented all Southerners. That's how I took it. Anyway.
Were you listening to the John Boy and Billy morning show or something?
I don't know. Something bad.
That's a good morning show, actually.
Yeah, I like something about it it's different. The show Last Kingdom, that's different from Game of Thrones and that same feeling. Obviously, it's not fantasy in the same way, but I almost feel like in a lot of those medieval shows, you're seeing the late game of medieval world. You're seeing these enormous stone castles and these big drawbridges and these giant architectural things and monasteries and whatnot. This feels like, to relate it to like Age of Mythology, they're in the first 10 minutes of Age of Mythology in the first 20 minutes of Age of Mythology in the Last Kingdom, whereas the late game, you're not there yet. So even the big halls and the, oh my God, like the king's coming, like even that is so underwhelming compared to what you're used to seeing a medieval king being, because you're like, this is the king's hall? This is it? It's just like a normal room. Where's his army? His army's 90 dudes?
Is it a clever way to keep the budget down, maybe?
No, I think it's factually accurate because all right, so you're talking about the beginning of the Dark Ages
at the time. Yeah.
Well, this is the beginning of the Dark Ages. This is the Roman Empire has fallen. That's what that wall is. They talk about at one point. And now, and I think it's like the year 500 or 600 or something like that. I didn't catch it. But
it's like eight something.
Yeah, I think it's 800 something. Anyway.
Yeah, so it's like early Dark Ages. Like, yeah, they don't have those big impressive castles and anything. Like they don't know if England's gonna be a thing. It's not a thing yet. It's an idea. The idea of a united England and what that could even mean, because right now it's very regional, and like you said, there's these really petty kings and petty lords, and the richest man in the whole fucking country's got like one big chest of silver, and that's it. That's it. He's got what silvers you can wrap your arms around. That's the richest guy.
That surprised me is how much they're like, how much silver you worth, and like that kind of shit, when it was like nobody even throws gold out there as a possibility. Like the 2 times where like someone was like, what do you demand for this ransom? He's like, gold and a barrel of gold and 10 chests of silver. And like the very prospect of it is enough to make everybody like, oh, gold, he says. Like, and it's like,
and
like how rich do you think we are? Where it's like, no, they really didn't have shit.
He's like a solid gold altar. He's like, only gilded, my lord, but you know how the tongues wag. You know, like gold. Yeah, like you said, they haven't gotten to gold levels yet.
There's so little of it. And like, I think the reason there were so many small kings is just reflecting that, like, this was like still like a warlord chieftain time more than they just called themselves kings, you know? Like they hadn't aggregated yet. Like that king over there and that king over there and that king over there. Those are all in the future what would be little like lords underneath the umbrella king.
But
you know?
When I was talking about like show budget, like I am in my head imagining this like, all right, get this. It takes place in 1200 AD. No. This isn't HBO. This is Netflix. Back it down. We can go from castles to cottages if we make this 800 AD. Maybe that went down. I don't know.
There are some big castles, right? Like Uhtred's got a big castle, right? Like the one he's supposed to have in Bebbanburg. Like whenever they show that thing from a distance, it looks like a Game of Thrones castle. Like it's super wide, and it doesn't have like the really tall towers and stuff, but it's got 2 or 3, and it's got the big high brick walls and stuff.
She's a fixer-upper.
The shitty cups
potential.
Really drew my eye because I'm so used to Game of Thrones and Tyrion and all the other medieval shows of anyone who's anyone in any medieval show, you would think drinks out of a silver chalice or something and just like loving it. These people, even like the high up,
it's Trailer Park Boys. They got like a 2-liter sawed off, like
and it's just like a clay cup or something with no designs on it, and then like the king will have his normal ass looking like Target cup that you would buy there in a set of 10, and it's almost just like
a Target cup.
Yeah, like those like cheap cups you get at Walmart or Target.
I'm picturing
just
plastic with
the.
So what I see with the cups that I noticed they looked like they were made out of some big horn. Like in my head, it's rhinoceros, although I'm sure that's not actually it.
No,
and they just kind of cut the top off and put a bottom on it, and it's like a horn cup.
Well, so like horns are mostly hollow anyway.
I know
it's
that.
just these folds of skin, and so yeah, you just turn it upside down, and you can fill it with. I liked the thing Uhtred's got. It's like a canteen, but it's leather, and it looked really well made. And I was like, I kept thinking like,
it's a cool show.
Water tastes like. Like, what does the water taste like out of a leather
disgusting.
canteen?
It probably tastes awful, and I liked when it would show them pouring water, that it was not the Lady Galadriel's pouring water, into the seeing pool in Lord of the Rings. It was clearly dirty, yellowish, brownish, the kind of water these people would have been drinking, with every sip being like, oh, fingers crossed, people,
At one point, they're like, I can't clean in this river, and she's like, we're miles from the city. The river's clean again. And it's like,
no, it is not. If you only knew, man, imagine like teleporting back in time there and having to like do their silly stuff where like you all wash your hands after each other ritualistically, knowing about germs. And that'd be awful. But yeah, that show is great. If you haven't watched that yet, check it out. I just binged the entire thing. It's the fastest. I read something online that they sped stuff up so much that the initial year is supposed to be like 793 or 893. I don't know. But by the time they're in season 2, and I won't say the big event, one of the battles is meant to be like the year 912 or something. So they're going over spans of years and years and years and years, hitting the interesting stuff instead of waiting for people to march.
Yeah, a thing will happen, and they'll just be like, now, 3 years later, and you're like, oh,
yeah.
Well, thank you for the fast forward.
We skip over like the bullshit happy times when Uhtred is just fucking bitches and like beating up anyone he wants to or whatever he does in his spare time, and they go right to like the troublesome times. I feel bad for Uhtred a lot of the time. He really never seems to get his due. Nobody ever seems to really fully appreciate him. Although he does
partly
some
his own fault.
Too.
You know what?
Yeah, totally.
I had a real life friend, and I was teaching him about this concept of managing up. Okay, so we're gonna go back to my Cisco years. I would watch managers, and in my opinion, like some of the best managers weren't the ones getting promoted. So I talked to my boss about it. And, just like friends, like how come XYZ doesn't do better? That guy always seems to be like on top of his game. And he's like, oh, that guy doesn't manage up. Like, that guy never talks to his managers and sells himself. He never, he manages down great. He's practically a member of his project teams. But his boss doesn't understand the importance of what he's doing. His boss doesn't understand how critical his role was. His boss doesn't get it because he's not managing up. If you don't manage down, then you're a pretender. You're not actually doing your job. If you don't manage up, then you're hurting yourself. It's somewhat like part of your responsibility to let the people above you know why you're so flippin' awesome. And he didn't do that. Well, Uhtred doesn't manage up. Uhtred will save the kingdom and then be like, and they're like, dude, you gotta go. He's gonna, someone else is gonna take credit for this accomplishment. And he's like, nah,
why, right?
1 second. All the boys know what I did. That's exactly what happens in a work environment. In a work environment, all your teammates know exactly why you're so great, assuming you are, but your boss doesn't unless you tell him.
He never barges into Alfred's chamber room with like a fucking PowerPoint or anything. Being like, first of all, you said to bring men from here to here. You informed me there would be 1,000. There were 600. I would encourage you to be more accurate next time. It makes battles very difficult. I retrieved the men. From there, I moved forward, north as you order. You got on to me about this. You don't know what you're talking about. You weren't there. Like, he needs that, but what he does every time is Alfred, the king, who I actually do like as a character, will be like, you didn't have my permission to do this or that as you were saving my ass. And he's like, oh, guess not. And it's like, well, no, don't say that. Say, I used the tools that were available to me. Like, just like market yourself a little bit.
I think I think a little of that is because he's still like a Viking, and like in his culture, he's like, yeah, I want a battle. There's gonna be songs sung now. Like they can't help but hear about what I did because the music of it's gonna be so loud. Everybody's gonna be talking about what I did. But here, like you saw that young Oda was like, nobody says shit but me. Shut up. He's like, there's gonna be one voice that tells this story. It's young Oda's. I was so glad when we got around to punishing young Oda.
Yes, me too.
He was a real cunt of a character. It's an excellent
I liked when
show.
they got around to talking about King Alfred, who was like, what I liked about King Alfred, the guy who always wears that red smock, which I liked in and of itself because it was like, that's like the new king look. Like, they hadn't even gotten to like crazy shit all the time. Like, they were just figuring this king shit out. But he was the only person in the entire first season who took more than a second to make any decisions or at all. Because up until then, it was bothering me in the show where Uhtred or someone would like be talking to his Viking buddies and they'd be like, Uhtred, we have 11 men and they have but 60. Can we take them? And Uhtred will be like, well, we wouldn't be Vikings if we didn't. And then he'll run in there, whatever. And fucking finally, as they're like having one of those plans in the throne room, King Alfred just steps in and is like, no, foolish. You are fools. That would be a foolish thing to do. And it's just like, oh, Alfred, yes, somebody's thinking a little bit. But dude, I liked it when it came out in the end. This isn't a spoiler, but when after that one guy had been given his justice and the guy who gave him that justice was drinking a lot. And, they were trying to ask him questions about, the upcoming battle. And he's like, oh, I can't even get drunk on this wine or this grog or whatever.
The ale.
This ale. King Alfred has it so it's made weak so men can work the next morning. And then all the guys are like, oh, ho, ho. And one dude's like, really? Yeah. Really? And he's like, yes.
Yeah.
Weak ale. And he's like, they're just aghast that they have just been guzzling down weak ale for free under the auspice of like free ale. But really, it's just like that beer they give you in Utah to make sure you don't fucking. But I don't know, great show. You guys got to check it out.
It is fantastic. I like it a lot. Let's do politics for a little bit. So the latest thing as we record this is Trump just released previously like intelligent or classified intel to Russian ambassadors who apparently are also
what he told
spies.
them was he told them like what country he got the intel out of a while back that ISIS was going to use laptops as to smuggle explosives onto aircraft. And I think what he told them was what country he got that intel out of, which would let Russia know which country we had an operative in but of course we have operatives in all the countries. I'm not defending what he did. I think that's
about
what he
what to
did.
do with laptops, about blowing up laptops.
So
remember a
ISIS
while back-
apparently wants to smuggle like explosive laptops on, and I didn't think that was like a super secret because even I figured that out when they said, "Hey, you know, they're thinking about banning laptops traveling in from overseas," and I'm like, "You mean in the cabin too? That's how I watch my movies." And they're like, "Yeah, even in the cabin, you got to put it, you know, somewhere else." And I'm like, "Oh, well, now Trump has told the Russians, hey, ISIS is talking about making laptop bombs," which I had figured out on my own. You know,
that's not the important part.
Yeah.
Like the secret was
where we got it.
That and you know, like
now I hadn't heard he gave up the source. I heard them strictly deny it. Something like I wish I could remember the phrase, but he said it 9 times in the same interview that he didn't give up anything and that it was wholly
Trump or
proper.
Spicer, who-
It was
I'm not
a
caught up on
different
this at all.
person. It was like a
Every time.
military leader speaking on behalf of Trump, or
Yeah.
an ex-military intelligence guy or something.
I'd love to hear his exact verbiage, you know, because they will come right to the edge of telling a lie without telling one legally speaking.
Yep.
But my guess is he told him, like, in what country he's like, yeah, we got a guy in Saudi Arabia. He knew. He heard it through the grapevine. Like, I think he gave that. I don't think he was like, we got this name Dave. Here's his picture. He's It's our guy. Dave is a motherfucking pimp. Let me tell you what Dave did. He is in the Saudi family right now. They think he's a prince. Like,
they
I don't
denied
think
that he
that.
gave up the source at all. But like you said, sometimes the language
Robert
is very
Downey Jr.
particular,
sold him
right?
to him.
Yeah. So, but I don't know how big it, like I guess most of the media, everyone but Fox, is very, very upset over this. And they start bringing back, like, tweet. I love that there's a Trump tweet for everything. Trump tweets have, like, there's one out there for every scenario. And here he is tweeting, and I remember him doing this, that Hillary Clinton should not be getting a White House briefing. So once the 2 candidates are picked, once it gets down to 2, they start giving them briefings, intelligence briefings, so that they can walk into the presidency and hit the ground running. Well, he's tweeting out that Hillary shouldn't be getting these things because she can't be trusted with classified information. And it's just like, oh, that's so perfect. And he also tweeted that, I can't remember. I think it might have been Snowden. I think Edward Snowden should be executed for giving up state secrets.
Yeah.
And
also, Edward Snowden is a
very
far
different
cry
situations, but it
bigger.
still
And-
seems like a
See, totally.
Yeah,
But
hypocrisy
when
doesn't
you're-
hurt Trump. Trump can lie and do it. What is hypocrisy? Hypocritical things all the time, but that doesn't stick to him. That's you know that there's a different set of rules.
Yeah,
I don't
it
think
builds
so.
narrative with Trump.
me, I don't like that he did this because what it says to me, I don't care about this. This individual thing that he's done, like, it seems on the surface to be not a big deal at all. Like it like you said, it's like, yeah, we kind of knew that. It sounds like the only thing that was released was maybe where we got the info, and in kind of a vague, arbitrary kind of way. That, like, yeah, we got people out there in the Middle East, they hear things. Like, maybe he said something like that. He said something he shouldn't have said, though, because they are making a stink about it. But God, it's a stink every fucking week. And what I'm worried about is if he didn't know the exact, that military guy you talked about a minute ago who, like, gave the statement.
McMaster?
That
Is that
guy's
his
probably
name?
an expert, like I said.
I hadn't heard his name before.
Going to the edge of telling a lie while legally still being sound, and Trump isn't capable of that. Certainly not in public, and I can't imagine that he's capable of it in private with those Russian ambassadors, where I'm sure he's trying to, like, hobnob and, like, press the flesh, and you know, politic, and, like, impress them with who he is and what he is and his power and all that stuff. He's trying to.
I'm so confused. Like, is it really, like, to Woody's point about the whole, like, if Trump had told you, hey, ISIS is trying to blow up laptops, like, I feel like if I got an email from Trump that said, like, I just wanted to let you know, be careful of laptop bombs. ISIS is doing this. I would have to send back, like, yeah, no shit. I see the TSA signs too. Like, I see, like, what in God? It had to have been something more than that.
Well, and Kyle says that he gave up something related to the source of it. I heard that that's absolutely not the case from the White House, you know. But they lie so much. That frustrates, dude. Spicer, Kellyanne Conway, etc. There is a team of people who are just flat out liars, you know. And like, I don't want to go to the stupid thing, but it's in my head. The crowd size thing. Like, on day 1, Spicer comes out and shows that he is absolutely willing to tell lies that we all see through, right? That's what this is what I'll be doing. I lie. And so I heard from the White House that, they didn't give up sources, and here's my reaction to it. Like, oh, yeah, I don't believe you at all. You just you tell lies. That's
I think it's a mix. I think it's more like what I said. Like I said, I don't think he was like, this is John. He's a CIA operative and he did this. Or I don't think he was like, this is Habib. The bad guys think he's a good guy, but really he's with us because we got his family over here and we pay him well and we're taking care of. We gave him 30 camels. Can you believe it? Like I don't think that happened either.
We got a guy in Abu Dhabi who told us this. Good. Yeah. And apparently that's a big problem. It'll shut down that source, and then it'll tell them where our relationships are, and they're able to like, oh well, if they have a guy in Abu Dhabi and this guy, then they can infer other relationships. I was hearing that on the news that was some big deal. I don't know. This to me seems like on the news right now they're acting like this is the worst thing that he's done so far. In my head, though, I'm not sure it makes top 10.
It's minor league. I think that they're making a mountain out of a no-hill. There's really nothing here. It's not like I guarantee it's Russia. Like I think that first of all, they're always hacking into our fucking intelligence agencies anyway.
They all are.
They probably already know it. And if we know something, they know it. And if they know something, we know it. I doubt there are very many secrets, especially of this nature, when it comes to like who we've got where and where we spy. We spy everywhere. We're spying on Spain. Why are we spying on Spain? Just in fucking case. In case they know something we need to know. We spy on everyone.
Do you ever wonder how much like we actually know about like of Chinese and Russian secrets and stuff like that, or they know of ours? Like, yeah, it almost makes sense to think that all of the superpower countries hit like a threshold of being able to discover shit that they can just figure out what everybody else knows, right? I don't understand like the actual technology of it, but doesn't it? Maybe you can explain better.
Any secrets that are networked?
Seems like everybody would know everything at some point.
It bothers me. Like, here's the thing. So I got into a kick about 2-3 months ago about military capability, and this I'm totally not an expert, but I just started like reading about it and runways and planes and whatnot. And apparently, China's new plane is actually pretty good because they stole all our intelligence. And they just copied like American planes, and they're never more than like a couple years behind because they just like as
they
we're
just steal the R&D.
They steal our R&D, and it's like, oh my god, that's so like I guess all's fair in love and war, but it's so unfair.
It's so unfair that we put tens of billions into being like, we made the greatest plane in history, and then China's like, oh, we have discovered the greatest plane in the history. Like,
to me, it's
I like to imagine though that we plant a little Achilles heel in those and like when the World War III goes down, we just turn all of their shit off.
That happened at
Cisco. Would be pretty nice.
It is made to specification, including a rocket water balloon launcher in place. I only make what I am told, sir.
We have a spaceship with the screen door. No, at Cisco we made routers, and like they copied our circuit board. No, I didn't build the circuit board. That wasn't my job. But like exactly copied it. There were mistakes and errors and like unused circuits that just found their way into the final design, and they were there too. Like they didn't even bother to like reverse engineer it. They just and we actually caught them and won in court because they copied our manuals. They would hand out manuals with their stuff that was our manual.
Same typos and shit probably too.
It's lazy.
There are a lot of historical examples of that happening. I want to say that the Soviets like stole the B-52 designs or something, and like there was in the design there was this little flaw where like. Oh no! What it was they captured a plane, like one of our planes crashed, and they captured it and they copied it. And on that plane there was a flaw where there was just a hole drilled in one of the planes that had no purpose. So every one of the Russian planes just had a hole drilled right there. It didn't do shit.
That's funny.
Do that exact. Yeah. So there's lots of that.
Back to the Trump thing. I don't know that this particular thing he did is so terrible. I do know it's legal. If there's one thing I know, you guys might know this too. If a president releases classified information, it suddenly becomes not classified and okay. Like the president can share all our secrets, and that's within his power and authority to do so on the fly. The moment he does it, it becomes okay because of the power of his position. But what bothers me a little more is something we already knew, that he doesn't really have the temperament and judgment to do this job really well. And
the temperament is the thing that's most troubling to me, because I really don't like the narrative of 5D chess. It doesn't make any sense.
Hungry Hippos. That's
like,
what he's playing.
What it is a broken clock is right twice a day, where every once in a while, he probably does think tactically because he's not a buffoon and he'll get something right. But a lot of the time it's like, oh, why did he fire, Comey today, and people are desperately trying to backpedal or whatever. This is like a last week example. We know we move at light speed, now in the news.
A year's worth of news every week.
Yeah, a year's worth. It's just like the fucking Viking show we're watching. It's just boom, but we don't have time for anything. We gotta get to the war. People are getting bored out there. Like they'll just backpedal and be like, oh no, it made total sense. Like no, this isn't the time to be justifying your vote for Trump. Like that time was in voting time. Like now, if anything, you should be hoping to hold his feet to the fire a bit and be like, well, goddamn, he's not doing the things you wanted done.
The Comey thing, like they laid it all out there. Like the president did it because this guy recommended it, etc. It had nothing to do with the Russian investigation, etc. And then they interview him like a day or two later, and he literally says, "I made the decision. I was going to do it regardless of what he said. The Russian thing is all fake news, and like it's a fake story." I think he called it, and you're like, "Oh my gosh." So you fired him because, to impede the investigation. That's what you did.
I don't think he did it to impede the investigation.
He did.
Because you'd have to... No, hold on. You'd have to be really, really genuinely stupid to do a cover-up this way. I genuinely think that in his head, he's like, I didn't do anything wrong with Russia. I'm tired of being criticized for this. Comey won't take my side and do anything, so I'm getting rid of him. And he's making emotional decisions about getting rid of people who aren't, quote, loyal to his side. And he doesn't have anyone in his sphere of influence who would look to him and go, hey, Trump, this is a really stupid idea right now, because if you have nothing to do with Russia, just let this pan out. And if you do have something to do with Russia, then this makes it look like a cover-up, and you're basically putting that first nail through your palm on the cross. Like it doesn't, I really do think that he's not trying to cover it up. I think he's just bad at making decisions and bad at putting people around him who are
impede the investigation, right?
But that doesn't make any
cover
sense
up implies that he's guilty, but trying to impede the investigation.
Do you think the investigation stops when Comey's gone, though?
I think Trump might. No. And here's the thing. What I think is in Trump's head is that he has the right to hire and fire the FBI, and now he's trying to make the FBI like a politicized branch. Right? Previously, they were kind of independent, and the people who led it served across presidents. Now, he needs a loyalist, to run this thing, and that's what he's looking for. That's why everyone.
Oh man, I can't imagine that.
Horrible at his job.
I hope that's not the case.
Yeah,
that's what bothers me. That's what I'm.
Because the way the FBI works is like now that Comey's going, like a whole series of, it's like cut the head off the Hydra. Although our FBI shouldn't. Yeah, they're not the Hydra. They're good people.
No, we love them.
Plenty of people rose up, and the investigation continues. His deputy is going to take his place, and then they're going to find an interim to take over for that guy, and then they're going to hire a guy to replace this guy. It's not like a
they'll find a new
like The Apprentice.
guy.
I was about to say it's not like The Apprentice, but every time he hires somebody, I'm hoping that he's going to make it a televised thing. That he's going to be like he's just going to come on the. The president has that thing I've talked about before, the presidential address, where all of the television, and I keep waiting on Trump's first one, where all the networks, they're like, oh, well, we interrupt this to go live to the president of the United States. And they don't even say shit more, because you're just right there at his desk and he starts talking. I want that, and then the camera pans to all of his FBI directors. I want him to introduce them one by one, and they raise their hands, and there's a bottom third. I want it to be like a reality show.
Here are this week's power rankings of head perspective chiefs. Oh my God, that would be hilarious. And to you, Commissioner Stevenson, a white rose. I will see you next week. What is it? Right, I'm sorry. You get a bye. Bye week.
You can just hand out all of them, right? And you get a totem. You're free. So we just cover the different shows.
Incredibly sorry. We're going to have to put your torch out.
Man.
That was the first time I saw that. Tell me if you guys saw a reality show before Survivor, because in my head that's the
Real
first
World.
reality show I remember.
Real World, and before that, Cops.
Oh,
Cops,
well,
The Real World, and then
Was
Survivor.
was
But
Real
this
World
is the first
competition?
competition-based reality
Yeah,
show
I explained
I
it
can
badly.
think
I was
of.
thinking competition reality show.
But Kyle's right. Real World was before. There was also like Road Rules or something on MTV, right? It was a Real World spin-off.
Yeah. I didn't
So it
watch
doesn't
that.
count. That,
I never watched Real World or the other one you said.
It started good.
But yes, Survivor started great. I remember watching that when it first came out and being just blown away at how like, oh, they got to eat worms to survive, because it was the first reality show I'd ever seen. And I was what, like 12, and so I'm like, oh my, like I hope they make it, like that kind of mentality. But
well, and then in like
people
season
just
2 or 3, like season 1, of course, Richard Hatch wins, and he's the overweight gay guy, but he's also the thinker. He's like, there's that final ceremony where the chick is like, I have to choose between the snake and the rat. And you know, like between him and the last person left, and then she chose him, and he won by outthinking everyone. But it was like either season 2 or season 3. There was this alpha male in the group who was succeeding, and he had like led his tribe to like he killed a pig with a spear on the island. Like normally, you know, they're eating that fucking rice and that's it. Like there's no food to be had. He made a spear and went and killed a boar. And then like he gutted it, and he's like eating the eyeballs and like getting every calorie out of this thing. And I'm like, wow. This is what I wanted to see. This is a Survivor, and it was kind of like, you know, me getting the first taste of like a Bear Grylls Survivor Man type show. But
I believe it's pronounced Grillis.
You're right. Yeah,
it's Grisalis.
Gristless.
Like one of the Viking names.
It's Roman. It's Roman. It's Bear Gryllis. But like shortly thereafter, like this was also the guy who made fire.
Did they vote him off for being good?
Worse.
Okay.
Worse. He was the guy who could make fire as well. Like he was multi-talented. He's making the fire. And he inhales the smoke and faints head first into his ready-made fire. And his hands go into the fire. And, you know, like when you get choked out or whatever, you're unconscious for 3-5 seconds before you can at least roll out of a fire. His hands melted. He stands up holding his hands like this, and the skin is draped off of them as he sprints into the river, screaming in pain. He wants to continue, but they helicopter him out, and the next time you see him, he's all bandaged up like something out of a comedy movie. It's absurd, like the way his hands are all wrapped. And that was it.
And all because he wanted to be the dude to actually survive instead of doing what everybody else does, which is like lays around and then go be like Grima Wormtongue in other people's ear. Where they're like, do you really think Janet sees you as a friend? It's like, well, I thought she did. We picked berries together all morning. Oh, I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. You're not like Janice. You're not like Janice. She's a little bit debaucherous, you know, like whatever the fuck they would say. Oh, I don't know why I thought of that show. Oh, because we were talking about putting the torches out, and that's what they did.
That show was good.
Cops is the original reality show, and it's a bit of a competition if you think
about it. But nobody
wins.
The police win.
Sometimes they get away. You know, the home team usually wins.
Yeah, it's the Harlem Globetrotters there, right?
Some of those old Cops episodes were like I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but like there was a point where the producers of Cops started saying, whoa, every episode is us beating up and arresting 6 or 8 black men. I need 2 black men, 2 Latinos, 2 white men, and a couple of rowdy, like, sexy chicks. Like, that's our show every week. And they really mixed it up racially speaking so that it didn't actually represent what cops are doing out there. But I remember back in the old days, this black guy in a barber shop. It's nighttime. He's in the upstairs loft of the barber shop, screaming down this flight of stairs at 2, maybe 3 cops on a tile barbershop floor. When he comes down, he's naked and crazed, and they start battling it out in this barbershop. And before you know it, the whole floor and the man are drenched in blood, and he's still going. There were plenty of episodes like that. Guys would get like pumped up on PCP, and like the cops are surrounding him, and he just literally punches through a picket fence or something. Is like, come at me.
I remember an episode of Cops where there was a kind of a tough guy, and he beat up somebody else. It might have been a woman. I don't fully remember, but I do remember the cop totally excited to beat the fuck out of this guy. And he's like, he's talking to him. He's getting a description, and he's like, I'm going to get him. He's like, I am so happy to be in a job that lets me do this. He's like, that guy will pay. And in barely coded language, he is like, I'm going to fuck him up. You know, like, these guys, they think they're tough. Wait till I get there. And I was I don't know. I wasn't sure how to feel about it because, like, the perfect policeman, he just kind of like apprehends them and lets the court, figure out the punishment. They don't dish out punishment right there in the sidewalk.
Judge Dredd. He's an anti-hero out there. Oh, don't worry, I'll break a few bones.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Let's talk fitness. Taylor.
How you guys doing?
You know, I don't think Taylor's given up the numbers yet. Where's your starting weight? What's your target weight?
Oh, my starting weight? I was at like 219.
Ooh, you were right there with me. Okay.
And I'm at like
you're a little taller than me. Are you taller than me?
Now. I'm taller than you.
Oh, okay.
A little taller than you. Like, I don't know. Kyle saw me next to him. I'm a little shorter than Kyle.
Me too. But, we're close then.
I like before, like 6 months ago, I was at like 210, and I did my like lose a bunch of weight with no attention to anything but calories, which is very unhealthy to eat like 1,100 calories a day. And I got down to like 190. And then over the course of like a couple weeks or a few months, I just ate like shit and did whatever I wanted. And then when we started this thing, I'm like, I'm still probably around like 195, 198 or whatever. And then like
I'll admit I gained 5.
Again, and it was like, I guess not quite 220, like 217 or something like that. And I like got that and I'm like, oh, maybe it was 260. It was around there. And I was just like, oh, God damn, fuck. You know how it is like when you like sneak the weight back on, which sucks. Kyle doesn't know what that's like as much because he has better self-control than me when it comes to gaining weight.
He had a moment.
Yeah, I'm lowered down now.
2013 or something.
Yeah, 225. That's my high.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that is pretty high. Okay. Well, then, yeah, now I'm at like 20. I'll have to weigh myself again. I'm only doing it like once a week as like the barometer thing. So like every Sunday morning, I'm weighing myself to try and like keep it. Because otherwise, like I get in my own head where I'll like weigh myself one day and just the natural thing of weight fluctuation is like, oh, cool, 206. And then the next day it's like 207.2, but I was good. And then you just get in your own head. Whereas I could just wait the whole week and then it's pretty much a guarantee that I'll go down a few pounds unless I really fucked up and ate too much or ruined my calories, and then I don't. So I'm at like 208 now, 207 now, I believe.
I started at like 181, 182, something like that, and I've gained about 4 or 5 pounds. I'm going to try to go to about 192. I'm going to try to gain 10 pounds and then try to cut a bunch of that weight off and see how that goes.
Yeah, my goal weight is like 192, 190 to like 192.
Yeah.
Is good for me.
I agree. So I've been saying I started at 220. I might have seen 222. I'm not 100% sure, but I definitely was at around 220-ish when we did this thing. And I am now down 7. I was down 6 last week. I'm losing about a pound a week. The thing is, and I read about it, and as they say a pound a week is about a good target. You know, and more if you're big. Like if you're really big.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, then
if you were, you're going from 225 down. If you were 450, you should definitely be losing 2 pounds a week, right?
Yeah, well, heck, the thing even mentioned a pound a day. They're like, these guys can lose a pound a day when they weigh 400 pounds. But if you're in my spot, a pound a week is not a bad place to be. The thing is, like I'd like to weigh 190. That's 30 weeks. I'm just like, oh my God, Woody, how did you let this happen? And I remember last year, I did a video about it too. I went from 211 to 207 like a year ago this time. And I'm like, man, I am 4 pounds away from where I was last year after having lost 7 already. Like the numbers are outrageous.
This. I don't understand because it's thermodynamics. I believe it is.
I know.
It is, but
we're fucking engines, and I don't know what it is because I've done it. I know it can be. Maybe it's just bad for your body the way I do it.
The way you do it, I've done it, and it is not good for your body. But it feels great to be like, I lost 20 pounds in the last 4 weeks.
As soon as you
boom, done.
Yeah, like because I lost. I was at 225, like you said, in like 2013 or something like that. And I'm like 185 now. That's what 30 or 40 pounds. Yeah, it's 40 pounds.
Trying to do it sustainably. Like I mostly eat. In my family, we call it George Foreman chicken. Just picture it on the grill with a couple spices and shit, and mixed vegetables.
Taste better if you actually made it on the grill. I think that George Foreman is robbing you of delicious flavors.
It probably is, but
concur.
But I eat that a lot, probably 2 meals a day. I skip breakfasts. I don't know if that's terrible or not, but sometimes I just make it to like 10:30, and I'm like,
You know that breakfast is the most important meal of the day thing is a bunch of fucking propaganda.
It is.
By the
It's
Egg
fucking
Consortium.
propaganda. Don't need breakfast. You don't need breakfast. No need to do it. And you break the word down. Breaking your fast from not eating for the night before and potentially some other. I think it comes
Thanks,
from
Glenn
some.
Beck.
I think it comes from. No, stick with me here. Stick with me here. I think this comes from some
Break.
olden time when breakfast was the first time you'd eaten since breakfast the day before or something like that. Like maybe breakfast was the only meal they got
Or
back
maybe it's
then.
just an overnight fast.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
But what
like,
happens to
I'll
me
say
is
in, like-
it'll be like 10:30 a.m. and I'm like, I can make it to 12, and I can certainly make it to like 11:40 and have an early lunch. And so it's just like there's no need to squeeze a meal in an hour and a half before my next meal. So I skip breakfasts probably 2-3 times, maybe 3 times a week, and eat well, and that's it. Like I'm not perfect, but like I've been pretty good. The whole family got Cookout the other day. People don't know Cookout. It's like a burger thing, and their milkshakes are great. And I'm like, no, George Foreman chicken for me.
Oh, it's fun.
for you.
I should have
It's a
found
victory.
something at Cookout. Like I bet they do grilled chicken.
They might, but I just don't trust it. Like I feel like restaurant food is going to be way oversalted. It's going to be the worst quality ingredients they can get their hands on, whatever's cheapest. And I like, look, it's not going to be forever. There will be a time where I can have a meal and not, feel like I'm losing all my progress. But I really want to lose weight.
Stuff.
The numbers
here's,
are
here's
huge.
one thing you can do. You can take your whole chicken, like a whole chicken, and put that thing in the slow cooker, and it'll just be delicious, fall apart like tender chicken meat that you could eat. That would be so much better than that George Foreman chicken. And whenever I hear about George Foreman chicken, I'm just like, that's terrible chicken.
I might get to that
It is
point.
terrible
Right
chicken.
now, I don't mind it so much. I actually all my water. I drink water mostly. That's another change I made. A lot of juice had crept into my diet. My mother-in-law's living with us now, and she has these preferences for all this crayon, whatever, and some medical reasons. So the house is just loaded with like my favorite juices. And at first, when I switched to water, I really didn't like it. I was sad about it. It was just like,
Yeah. Water is a sad beverage.
Fuck you. This is the prison I live in. Fuck it. And now I don't feel that way. Like water is just sort of what I reach for. It's the thing I drink.
Wait till like 6 more weeks of this, and then drink like a regular. Like don't waste it on a regular Coke. Get like a Mexican Coke with the real cane sugar, and it'll be so sweet you can barely enjoy it. Like it'll be, I just needed a sip. Yeah, you want the rest?
So I weighed myself after exercising. I think it was yesterday, and I was down 9 pounds. And it's like, this does not count. No, sir. You are dehydrated. You did this on purpose.
I just won't drink from now on.
I
I'm
did
good.
it. I started skateboarding again, and that is exercise. I was so exhausted. I got back into the house. I laid and I looked at the ceiling for like 10 minutes as I recovered from how hard it was, and then I showered up and I hopped on the scale just to see a new low number, and it was 211, which is 9 down. And it was not satisfying. 211 is still a fat weight for me. And, like, I need to be...
That first one will be good to see. We'll both get there right around the same time.
You seem to be training ahead of me. But, yeah, if my weight starts with 1, that'll be a major landmark. And also, I'd like to lose 10 pounds. That's a nice landmark.
If there were a lake near you that you could volunteer a couple days a month to be a lifeguard, would you do that?
No.
Okay. Just checking.
Yeah.
Because for all I know, you'd be like, oh, that would be cool.
No.
I could save some lives. And
At
now
a lake?
Now that I'm a little
It's a
older,
babysitter's
it'll
job.
be harder to save the lives and therefore more exciting.
No.
Now you see 2 guys going down, you're like, eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
You know what I would like to do? I've thought about this. I was like... I could never actually do it because I've got a family here and I've got a sick mother-in-law and like I have responsibilities. But hypothetical single Woody would totally work for free at a paramotor flight school, just teaching people to fly, dragging wings around. It's physical work, you're teaching people an athletic activity, and I would love it and lose weight. It would be like my favorite kind of exercise, but that's not feasible.
Well, you're sticking to
There aren't
exercising
any
and doing
adjoining
good.
properties that you could make into your own airfield. Like if you bought all those woods behind you, and plowed them asunder, and made your own airfield there, then maybe you could run this thing out of that barn.
Be in tremendous shape after clearing that forest. Yeah.
With just the axe. I need you in that red flannel shirt, one of those hats with the ears on it, and a fucking axe.
Yeah,
and
the man today probably not qualified
Are you
to
sticking
teach
to the exercise, the kettlebell and everything, Kyle, for the most part?
I'm definitely still using the kettlebells. They're in my room. So that really makes me like do them. Like a lot of my workout gear is down here, like a couple rooms to my left, like the machines and stuff, and definitely, of course, the like Olympic sized barbells and shit that are just awkward to move around anywhere else, and you can't do those exercises in a bedroom. But my kettlebells are upstairs in my bedroom. So whenever I'm like just not doing anything, or like I've been playing a lot of Battlegrounds still, and there's lots of waiting screens and just sitting around doing nothing. So I'll always like crank out like a set, like maybe I just of kettlebells or something while I wait for to drop in or something like that. And I die so often that there's a lot of waiting. So I play Battlegrounds for 2 hours. I get one hell of a workout in.
Taylor, have you noticed any like, or either of you, like, do you feel better about yourself? Are you like seeing improvements?
Yeah, I'm definitely seeing improvements in my upper body. Like I can feel my traps here are way
and more cut and more angular, and you have a very athletic shape now. I, on the other hand, feel very bloated, very water heavy all the time. I can hear my belly right now going and I'm looking forward to the point where like I cut my calories back down to like 17 or 1800 and sweat a lot of this out. It's not a fun feeling.
No, that doesn't sound as fun. I'm having more fun though, because I started with the slab of marble, and so and so I got to work backwards. But like I can tell I'm feeling stronger. My forearms are getting bigger more quickly than I would have thought. I don't like all the hand calluses. I've been trying different lotions.
I told you to use I told you to use the gloves. You're like, oh, the gloves make it easier to do. Like, no, you got to wear the gloves. My hands are
okay. Well, I'm in for a penny, in for a pound. Yeah, I got a couple of rough ones on there, but it's not too bad. But I can tell my traps are growing a lot, then my chest, and just I can tell my arms are kind of recompositing, if that is what it means.
I see it in your deltoids.
What's the deltoid again?
They're here.
Oh yeah, I can definitely tell it there. Like, and then because I put on fat in my ass and my thighs, like I can tell that I'm losing some weight there, but it's not the speed of weight that I'm accustomed to when I do the Kyle method. So like I feel like maybe I'm in my own head way too much, but I feel like in real amounts of fat I'm losing more than the scale shows because I'm putting on some muscle as well. But I don't know. I'm really liking it. I feel better. I look better in my clothes. I've been getting more compliments, like on like my shoulders looking good, like in whatever kind of shirt or whatnot. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. And even the best thing about it isn't even, well, being in shape and looking better so you can get ladies here is obviously the best thing about it. But one of the other good things about it is that even if you have like a shit day and you're like, oh, I didn't get that done, I didn't achieve that, that sucked, I thought I was gonna be able to do better at this or that. Like if you do that, you can still be like, okay, well, something was done. I did something today. I took one step in the right direction, and this wasn't a loss. You know, do you guys kind of think that way a bit?
Yeah, especially with the diet. So the exercise, like that, you put it to the side. But for me, it's sticking to the diet. And like when I go a day where I know that I was disciplined, it was like, hey, like, regardless of what that scale says tomorrow, because it can be fooled by water fluctuations.
Yeah,
I know in my heart I was disciplined. And I typically am. I've been pretty disciplined. I haven't, sometimes on camera when I look here, I'm like, ooh, face is a little more chiseled. But mostly disappointment. I've lost 7 out of my planned 30 pounds. And
yeah, but you've started. No, I think you're doing
not enough. Not enough.
I think you're doing an excellent job. It's it's kind of a lifestyle change that you have to take place. And we'll all taper off at some point. If Taylor kept at this pace, he would eventually be so large it would be unseemly. And if Woody kept up at this pace, he would be a very low body fat like runner build. And if I kept at this pace, I would be wings. Like we're all going to taper this off to get to where we want to go at some point. But I think you're right on pace and doing well. I'm not going to throw Wings into the bus any more than I just did. It's because it had to be a big bus, a big fucking bus, right?
Jesus Christ.
But like he would have already backslid right now. Whereas
I wonder
you're not
how he's
talking
doing.
About, you're like, I'm only 7 pounds down. But what you are not saying is like, well, I went down 5 and then back up 3, so I'm really down 2. But this week I'm down 3 more, so I'm down 5. And there's no fucked up math. Like,
no. It's all accurate and it's all truthful. But I guess I was hoping that so I have some shirts that don't look good.
I have 2 wardrobes.
Do you? Yeah, and I have some shirts and I put it on and like it's funny because I fussed at my wife because I'm like, honey, like none of these shirts don't fit right. These are winter shirts. All that because the shirts I reached for first were like still on the laundry rotation or something. And she's like, you can't blame me for your shirts not fitting right. And it's like, words hurt.
Not at all. I'd have went.
That's the kind of.
That's when you go and spend like $1,000 online shopping, and you're like, now they all fit. Now they all fit. Watch these now.
But the thing is, the shirts aren't broken. I am, right? What you do is you make it so that those shirts that I'm not wearing right now start to look good.
I have like an echelon of clothes where like my normal jeans are usually like 32 or 33 waist, the ones that like I'm feeling good when I wear the 32s.
Mm-hmm.
I have 34s that are like, hey, you watch where you're headed, son. That I have a couple pairs of those that I have from like years ago. And when I have to put on the 34s, I know that's bad news. And I have one pair of 36s hid somewhere in there. And if I ever have to break out the 36s,
next to your serialized fucking ice cream scoop.
Yes. Yeah, that's what it is. Like if I ever have to pull out, I know where the 36s are. I'm pretty sure. But those are my like, what the fuck is like, goddamn, like that much more than normal, like. So that's I haven't had to touch those in a while.
I was looking at BMI, right? And it said I needed to get to like 189 for me not to be fat anymore. I think that might be off because I'm a little biggish. Like I'm just built wide. I am. Yeah. Like every doctor I've ever had, as recently as like last week, my sleep apnea doctor, I had to go and prove I was using my machine and stuff. And he's looking at my like breathing and he's like, you have big lung capacity. Like, this is unusually large. I've got a big rib cage and I've got a big waist. Remember the fucking dickwad girl who did that to me and I hit her?
My calculations are based on like an average bone structure, bone density and all that stuff. You can go and get in one of those like pools where they immerse you in water and they get your 100% exact BMI.
I'm going to do that maybe.
That's pretty cool.
When it's a number I might like. If I do that now, we'll just confirm I'm fat, which I can see with just a mirror. But we can go to a better machine when I think I'm normal, and I'll prove it.
But you're right about for so long, and I still am not 100% sold on it. But like when people are like, "Oh, I'm just big boned," I'd be like, no, everybody's got a skeleton. You're fat. You're fat, and you want to say that your bones are the same. And like I have gone to a doctor before, and he's like, "Yeah, you have a pretty large bone structure." And it was like, oh, okay. So maybe all those people on the internet weren't 100% right, and I was foolish for believing it. But
it's not a big deal, though. It's not like, I'm 180 pounds of extra bone.
No, that's
like, really? Are you all bone? Are you just a big bone?
Just a big bone. The way they say it is like, basically, if you have a bigger frame upon which to build on, that you can... The way I almost see it is like you can get fatter before people realize how fat you are. Like you can put on more weight. Like I can get to, like I have a friend who's just, about my same height, but he's very slight, just a smaller dude. Me at 207, 6 pounds, 8 pounds, whatever, looks a lot better than him at 208 because he looks more slovenly and sloppy. He doesn't listen to the show. It doesn't matter. But like that really is a thing. Yeah, Derek.
Idiot cunt.
Also, my bottom half is pretty heavy. Like, if you look at me, you might think Woody's just like normal build type guy, but my legs are actually a strong person's legs. And
strong base,
a lot too.
Hardy.
Yeah. I was a human plow back in the day.
We were talking about that rope climbing earlier today. told the story before. Woody went up that rope like a fucking professional. It was very impressive. I wouldn't even try to climb that goddamn rope. It was impressive. Those thighs, those thighs like a thigh muscle shouldn't be able to grab things. Woody's thighs,
that is totally how I do it.
Inside the skin and like grip a little bit, like Velcro up that rope.
I do. I hold the rope and then I like push up with the thighs, and it's mostly legs for me. I'm like.
I felt like
it
you know how a
sounds
stripper
stupid.
will go up the pole and then she'll like do that backwards thing. He could have done that on a rope. He could have done that on a rope.
I am like all jokes aside, I'm curiously good at rope climbing for some reason.
Yeah.
I had a friend like that in a wrestling class who, I don't know why, but the reason you said curiously good sparked a memory, because what my wrestling coach said to my friend who was in my class was, God, you are curiously good at this. Because like the thing, you know what they'd have you do in wrestling and whatnot, like oh, you got to do bear crawls across the mats and everything, get you exhausted, and then he'd be like, all right, everybody, walk on your hands across. And so basically for most people it was you'd have to get up on your hands and try and walk across the mat on your hands, and most people are falling over all the time, and if you fall over you have to stay where you were and do it again until you get all the way across and back and whatnot.
Are you walking on a handstand?
In a handstand, yes. In a handstand like that, like walking with your hands. And it was hard. Like I would do it. I'd be like, 1, 2, 3, and you fall. You're like, oh, damn it. And there was this one guy, Hayden, in my class. No, yeah, in my class. He could just, on a whim, just right up and then just pat the whole way over. Like, you know when you see those dogs, like, oh, isn't that funny? He's walking like people. Like, it was like that. He would, like, just there and back, no problem, to the point that the coach had to be like, all right, you do push-ups. Like, because you're just clearly enjoying traipsing about on your hands like some capuchin monkey. But
you know what else I was curiously good at? And you mentioned it because of the wrestling. Our wrestling team had this, like, it was like a pegboard. And
we climbed.
Yeah, there was like a hole here, and then like diagonally up each way, and you just do that. And like, you know, we had my wrestling team. I wasn't on it, but it was like a all-star stud, like very unusually good wrestlers in a dominant team, and the best of them could do this thing. And then like fucking Gay Wad Woody could also nail it out. Like they were.
Yeah, we had that at that MMA gym. That was very difficult to do.
Yeah, I probably couldn't do it now, but
depending on the placement of the holes, right? Like if it's just but if you've got to like
it's hard.
I don't know how far it was, if it was a hard one or not, but yeah. Well, the thing is, you got to keep it here. Me anyway. Some people they'd get to here and then like, well, now you're fucked. Like now you have to like bring that back in and do that. I just keep it tight, but yeah, I was good at pull-ups. Some of the body weight things I was good at in high school. Sit-ups.
Did you weigh less than others?
I weighed less than I do now. That's for sure.
I kicked ass in the physical fitness test in pull-ups. Dominated pull-ups.
Really?
I got blue ribbons in pull-ups.
I did well in that too.
In running, I got the white ribbon, which means thank you for coming out. You know, thanks for at least doing the track.
I think I did well at those things because I surfed, and it builds up your lats, and it's a similar muscle to doing pull-ups, and that's what it was. So
well, I'm glad we're all sticking to it, because I'm enjoying seeing the progress. It is easier. I'm sure you agree, Woody, having people to reconvene with and knowing that you're going to be held at least a little accountable. It
is so much better because. Otherwise, I'd be all by myself. Like the rest of the family hasn't jumped on this train with me, so I don't have anyone else to talk to about it. And yeah, so that's nice. Did we have another topic? There was Trump, the show, the fitness,
and Last Kingdom.
Yeah, it was the show, the fitness thing. Maybe we ran through it all.
I think we did.
Well, it's been an hour.
Yeah. All right. There you go.
All right. Episode. And that's it.